This happened 2 years ago on April Fool's Night. I was in college, living off campus in a quiet rental house with two roommates. That night, they both claimed they were heading out to a party. I didn't really feel like going, so I stayed behind, threw on some headphones and started playing games. Around midnight, I heard a loud bang from the back of the house. At first I thought it was just the neighbors, but then I heard a second bang, louder, closer, like someone had slammed the back door. I took my headphones off and listened. Nothing, just silence. I stood up and started walking toward the kitchen when all the lights flickered and went out. That part definitely got me. I stood in total darkness, holding my phone like a flashlight. Then I got a text. It was from one of my roommates. It just said, "April Fool's grinning face with big eyes." I laughed a little when I got the text, but I was still standing there in the dark. I called out, "All right, you got me. Now turn the lights back on." No answer. I walked toward the hallway, expecting one of them to jump out at me, but the house was dead silent. I texted back, "Very funny. Where are you?" A few seconds later, my phone buzzed again. "In the closet." I looked around. The hallway closet was just a few feet in front of me. I walked over and pulled the door open. Nothing. Just jackets and boxes. I texted again, "Which closet?" That's when I got a phone call. It was my other roommate. He was whispering, panicked. He said, "Dude, we're watching you from the window." That wasn't us. I froze. I whispered, "What do you mean that wasn't you?" My roommate said, "We came back to mess with you, man. We were just gonna tap on the windows. But someone's already inside." I turned around slowly. The house was still dark, except for the hallway light flickering at the far end. Then I saw it. A figure, standing completely still at the end of the hallway. They weren't wearing a mask or a costume, just a hooded jacket. I couldn't see their face. I backed into the kitchen and locked the door behind me. I could hear footsteps now, slow, heavy ones coming down the hallway. My roommates were yelling through the front door, banging to be let in. I ran and threw the door open just as they burst inside. But the hallway was empty again. We searched the whole house, every room, every closet, even the attic. No one was there, but the back door, it was wide open. I used to work at a clothing store in the mall, and April Fool's was always an excuse to mess with the closing crew. This one year, a few of us decided to pull the classic mannequin prank. One of the guys dressed up in store clothes, stood in the display window, and stayed completely still until someone walked by. It worked perfectly. We scared 2 customers and one of our managers. Everyone laughed it off. But the weird part started about 20 minutes later, after we'd all clocked out. I stayed behind to finish some restocking, and while I was wheeling boxes down the back hallway, I noticed something standing near the employee door. Another mannequin. It wasn't one of ours. I stood there staring at it. It was wearing older clothes, like something from the store's old inventory we hadn't sold in years. Faded denim jacket, black slacks, one arm slightly bent, the other perfectly straight. I assumed someone had moved it as part of the prank, maybe brought it up from storage. But here's the thing, we didn't have a mannequin like that. And I know because I helped unpack every one of them during our last display reset. I called out to see if anyone was still around. No answer. I walked past it, wheeling the box down the hallway, and when I turned the corner, I heard it. A soft scrape, like something heavy dragging against tile. I turned around. The hallway was empty. No mannequin. I walked back toward the break room, and when I passed the employee lockers, there it was, standing next to the vending machine. Same position, same faded jacket. Only now the head was tilted slightly to the left. I froze. I took out my phone and took a photo, mostly to prove I wasn't losing it. Then I left. I didn't even finish the restocking. The next day, I asked my manager about the mannequin. She looked confused, said they hadn't brought in any new ones. I went to show her the photo, but it was gone. Not just the photo. The entire camera roll was empty. This happened a few years ago, and it still makes me paranoid every time April rolls around. I was working from home, and around noon I got a new email notification. The subject line just said, April Fool's smiling face with smiling eyes. The sender was some random address I didn't recognize. Just a string of letters and numbers. I figured it was spam, but I clicked on it anyway. Inside, there was no message, just a single image attached. I opened it and immediately felt sick. It was a photo of me, lying in bed, eyes closed, sound asleep. I stared at the photo for a full minute. It wasn't from social media. I don't post pictures like that. It wasn't from my phone either. I checked every folder, nothing matched. The angle looked like it was taken from the corner of my room, near the closet. I stood up and walked over there, but nothing was out of place. I checked the windows, locked, door, still chained. No signs of a break-in. I even looked for hidden cameras just in case. Nothing. That was the only email I ever got from that address. I reported it, blocked it, changed all my passwords. But every April since then, I sleep on the couch. Back in high school, a couple friends of mine pulled a prank for April Fools. They took a yearbook photo of one of the girls in our friend group, Emily, and made fake missing person flyers with her name and face on it. It said she was last seen outside the school and to contact police if found. The plan was to post a few of them around campus, let her see one, then immediately tell her it was a joke. Only, when she did see one, she didn't laugh. She looked scared. We were in the cafeteria when she walked in, holding the flyer. Okay, she said. Which one of you put this on the bulletin board across from my house? Everyone froze. None of us had been anywhere near her neighborhood. We only put flyers inside the school. She said she found it taped to a streetlight, weathered, like it had been there all night. The weirdest part? The one she brought in wasn't printed on school paper. The ink was different, and under her photo, in tiny letters we hadn't added, it said, "Soon."